So, it's that time of year again. Samsung has just started rolling out the beta for their latest software iteration, One UI 8.5, and I've had it running on my S-series phone for a little while now. As always, this isn't a massive ground-up redesign, but more of a refinement. Samsung is known for packing its software with features, sometimes to a fault. But with each new version, they seem to get a little bit better at organizing it all, cleaning up the edges, and adding genuinely useful tools. And this year, with 8.5, that trend continues. It's all about smarter, subtle improvements across the board. This update touches on pretty much every key area of the user experience. We're seeing changes in the user interface, some important new privacy controls that are definitely worth paying attention to, and a few tweaks to battery management that could actually make a difference in your day-to-day usage. Plus, the AI is getting a bit smarter, and the customization options, which have always been a strong suit for Samsung, are getting even deeper. It's a lot to unpack, but it's the kind of update that matures the platform in some really nice ways. So in this video, we're going to dive deep into what I think are the top new features and most important changes in One UI 8.5. We'll go through the visual refresh, the new privacy dashboard, the battery optimization tools, the smarter Bixby routines, and all the new ways you can make your Galaxy device truly yours. Whether you're a power user or just curious about what's coming to your phone soon, this is everything you need to know. Let's get into it. Alright, so first up, let's talk about the look and feel. The user interface. With One UI 8.5, Samsung hasn't reinvented the wheel, but they have definitely given it a new set of tires and a polish. The changes are subtle, but they add up to a noticeably cleaner and more fluid experience. You'll first notice it in the animations. Unlocking the phone, opening apps, swiping between home screens, it all feels just a little bit snappier, a little more responsive. The physics behind the animations seem to have been recalibrated for a more natural sense of momentum and weight. It's not just about speed though, it's about the quality of the motion. When you pull down the notification shade, for example, the blur effect on the background is more refined, more gradual. The icons in the quick settings panel have a new, slightly softer aesthetic. They're still recognizably Samsung, but they've shed some of the harsher lines from previous versions. It's a small detail, but when you're looking at these elements hundreds of times a day, those small details matter. It feels less like a purely functional interface, and more like a thoughtfully designed space. The system-wide font has also been tweaked. It's a minor typographic adjustment, but it improves readability, especially in menus and notifications. The spacing and kerning feel more balanced, which contributes to that overall sense of polish. It's clear that the design team went through the entire UI with a fine-tooth comb, looking for areas to sand down the rough edges. This isn't a flashy, in-your-face redesign, and that's a good thing. It's a maturation of the existing One UI design language we're already familiar with. Another area of refinement is in the consistency of design elements across Samsung's own apps. The Gallery, Calendar, and Messages apps now share a more unified design language. The headers, buttons, and menu layouts are more consistent, which makes navigating the ecosystem feel more intuitive. You're not relearning the layout every time you switch apps. This creates a more cohesive software experience that feels less like a collection of separate applications and more like a single, well-integrated system. They've also improved the haptic feedback. Tapping on UI elements, adjusting sliders, or using the keyboard now provides more nuanced and precise vibrations. It's a small thing you might not consciously notice at first, but it adds a tactile dimension to using the phone that makes it feel more premium. It's this attention to the micro-interactions that really elevates the user experience. The phone doesn't just do what you tell it, it communicates back to you in a more sophisticated way. The color palette system has been expanded as well. When you set a new wallpaper, the Material You-based color theming is now more intelligent. It pulls a wider, more accurate range of colors from the image and applies them more tastefully throughout the system UI. The themed icons also seem to support a wider range of third-party apps now, leading to a more consistent-looking home screen if you're someone who really cares about that level of aesthetic control. Let's talk about the notification shade again. Beyond the smoother animation, the layout has been slightly reorganized. Notifications are now grouped more logically, with conversations getting clear priority. The media player controls have also been redesigned to be more compact when you don't need them, and more expansive when you do, showing album art more prominently. It's a smarter use of that valuable screen real estate. the edge panels have seen some love too. There are new panels available for download, and the existing ones are more responsive. The handle is easier to grab, and the animations for sliding it out are, you guessed it, smoother. It's a feature I know a lot of people use, and these quality of life improvements make it an even more powerful multitasking tool. It feels less like an afterthought and more like a core part of the navigation. Even the always-on display has new clock styles and more customization options for widgets. You can now have widgets from third-party apps appear on the AOD, which is a huge step forward for its utility. Imagine seeing your upcoming Uber's arrival time or your food delivery status without ever having to fully wake your phone. That's the kind of practical improvement we're seeing here. Ultimately, the UI refresh in One UI 8.5 is all about refinement. It's the sum of dozens of small, thoughtful changes. It's Samsung acknowledging that they have a solid foundation and choosing to build upon it by focusing on fluidity, consistency, and the little details that separate a good user experience from a great one. It feels faster, looks cleaner, and is just generally more pleasant to use day to day. Okay, let's move on to something that's becoming more important every single year: privacy. With One UI 8.5, Samsung is making some significant and welcome changes to how you control your personal data. The headline feature here is the new privacy dashboard. It's not a new concept in the Android world, but Samsung's implementation is clean, comprehensive, and easy to understand, which is arguably the most important part. From a single screen in the settings menu, you can now see a clear chronological timeline of which apps have accessed your camera, microphone, location, contacts, and other sensitive permissions. It's presented in a simple graph for the last 24 hours, but you can dive in to see a full 7-day history. This transparency is key. It's no longer a mystery which app might be accessing your location in the background. The dashboard lays it all out for you, timestamp and all. Building on that, the permission indicators are now more prominent. Whenever an app is actively using your camera or microphone, you'll see a small green dot in the top right corner of your screen. This is a crucial, at-a-glance indicator that gives you immediate awareness. You no longer have to guess if an app is listening in. The phone will tell you, plain and simple. It's a feature that should be standard on every device, and it's great to see it implemented so clearly here. You can also tap on that green indicator to see exactly which app is responsible and manage its permissions directly from that pop-up. This removes friction. Instead of having to remember the app's name, go to Settings, find the app list, and then find the permissions. You can revoke access in 2 taps, right in the moment. This immediate control empowers the user to act on that newfound awareness, which is a powerful combination. One UI 8.5 also introduces the concept of approximate location. When an app asks for your location data, say a weather app, you can now choose to grant it access to your precise location, or just an approximate one. The weather app doesn't need to know your exact street address. It just needs to know your general area. This feature allows you to provide apps with only the data they truly need to function, without oversharing. It's a more granular level of control that makes a real difference. Another new feature is the clipboard access notification. We copy and paste all sorts of sensitive information, passwords, bank details, private messages. Now, whenever an app reads the content of your clipboard, you'll get a small temporary notification at the bottom of the screen telling you which app did it. This helps to expose any apps that might be snooping on your clipboard data without a legitimate reason, adding another layer of transparency to background processes. Samsung has also integrated a privacy checkup tool within the dashboard. This feature proactively guides you through your existing app permissions and settings, highlighting potential risks or settings you might want to review. It'll point out apps that have access to permissions they haven't used in a while, or suggest you turn on features like clipboard notifications if you haven't already. It's like having a helpful guide dedicated to securing your device. The way permissions are requested has also been improved. The pop-up dialogues are clearer about what the permission is for and what the implications are of granting it. The language is less technical and more focused on the user's understanding. This is a subtle but important change that helps people make more informed decisions about their data, rather than just clicking Allow to get rid of the pop-up. For those who use Secure Folder, there are enhancements there too. The process of moving files and apps into the secure encrypted space is now faster and more streamlined. The authentication process has also been updated with support for more biometric options, making it both more secure and more convenient to access your most private data. It reinforces Secure Folder's position as one of the best security features on any smartphone. Ultimately, these privacy enhancements in One UI 8.5 are about giving the user more knowledge and more control. It's about demystifying what's happening in the background of your device. By making permissions history visible, providing real-time indicators, and offering more granular controls like approximate location, Samsung is putting powerful privacy tools directly into the hands of its users in a way that's easy to access and understand. This is a huge step in the right direction. Alright, let's talk about battery life. It's the one thing that, no matter how good it gets, we always want more of. With One UI 8.5, Samsung isn't promising any magical physics-defying breakthroughs, but they are introducing some smarter tools to help you manage and optimize the power you do have. The focus here is on intelligent management and giving the user more control over power consumption. The main update is a new feature called Adaptive Battery 2.0. The original Adaptive Battery feature learned which apps you use most and limited battery for the ones you rarely use. This new version takes it a step further. It now analyzes your usage patterns on a more granular level, not just which apps you use, but when you use them. For example, it might learn you never use social media apps between midnight and 6 a.m., so it will put them into a deeper sleep state during those hours automatically. This leads to a more proactive approach to power saving. Instead of you having to manually put apps to sleep, the phone intelligently does it for you, based on your established routines. The device care section now provides a more detailed breakdown of how this feature is working, showing you which apps have been optimized and the estimated battery life saved as a result. It's all about making your phone work smarter, not harder, to conserve power. Another new setting is Protect Battery, which is designed to extend the long-term health of your battery. We all know that charging your phone to 100% and leaving it plugged in, especially overnight, can degrade the battery's capacity over time. This new option, when enabled, will limit the maximum charge to 85%. While this means you start the day with a bit less juice, it can significantly increase the overall lifespan of the battery cell, which is a great option for people who plan on keeping their phones for 3, 4, or even 5 years. The power-saving modes have also been made more customizable. Previously, you had a couple of preset modes. Now, you can create your own custom power-saving profiles. You can choose exactly what gets disabled when you enable a mode. Maybe you want to keep your high refresh rate screen, but are willing to turn off background data and limit CPU speed. You can create a profile for that specific scenario, giving you much more precise control over the battery life versus performance trade-off. Within the device care menu, the battery usage stats are now more detailed. You get a clearer graph showing not just which apps use the most power, but also breaking it down by foreground and background usage. This helps you identify apps that might be misbehaving and draining your battery without you actively using them. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's literally power for your phone. There's also a new processing speed option that's separate from the power-saving modes. You can choose between optimized, high, and maximum. While previous versions had something similar, this is now more clearly defined. The optimized setting provides the recommended balance of performance and battery life for daily tasks, while the higher settings are there for when you're gaming or doing intensive work and need every bit of performance, even at the cost of battery. Samsung has also improved the suspend execution for cached apps feature in the developer options, which can now be more aggressive in freezing apps in memory to prevent them from using CPU cycles in the background. This is more of a power user feature, but for those who like to tinker, it provides another lever to pull to eke out every last drop of battery life. It shows a commitment to providing options for every type of user. The charging animations and information have been updated as well. When you plug your phone in, it now gives you a more accurate estimate of the time remaining until full charge, and it specifies whether you're charging, fast charging, or super fast charging. This is a small but useful quality of life improvement that removes ambiguity and gives you a clearer picture of your charging status at a glance. Finally, the system's learning algorithm for your usage patterns resets and relearns more quickly after a major software update. In the past, it could take over a week for the battery life to restabilize after an update. Samsung claims to have shortened this learning period, so you should get back to your normal, optimized battery performance much faster after installing One UI 8.5. In essence, the battery improvements in One UI 8.5 are less about a single silver bullet and more about a collection of intelligent, user-controllable tools. From a smarter adaptive battery that works in the background to more granular controls over power saving and charging, Samsung is giving you the ability to tailor your phone's power consumption to your specific needs and habits, which is exactly the right approach. Samsung's AI platform, Bixby, has had a bit of an uphill battle for relevance, but the company keeps refining it, and in One UI 8.5, the focus is less on the voice assistant and more on the underlying intelligence that powers automation across the phone. The AI features are getting genuinely smarter and more useful, particularly when it comes to Bixby routines. Bixby Routines has been one of Samsung's most underrated features for a while now, and it's getting a major upgrade. The interface for creating routines is more intuitive, with more suggested actions and triggers to help new users get started. But the real power is in the new if conditions and then actions that have been added. You can now create much more complex and nuanced automation chains. For example, a new trigger is app opened, so you can set a routine where if you open the YouTube app, then your screen rotation is enabled, the screen brightness is set to 70%, and Do Not Disturb is turned on. When you close the app, it can automatically revert all those settings. This level of per-app automation is incredibly powerful for tailoring your phone's behavior to specific tasks. Another new set of actions revolves around system settings that were previously off-limits. You can now have a routine that toggles the high refresh rate on your display, changes your screen mode between vivid and natural, or even enables and disables the new Protect Battery feature we just talked about. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities for power users who want to automate their device's core functions. The AI is also more integrated into the Smart Widgets feature. These are the widget stacks that you can swipe through. Now, the phone will intelligently reorder the widgets in the stack based on the time of day and your current context. It might show you your calendar widget in the morning, your music widget during your commute, and your smart home controls when you get home, all without you having to manually swipe. It's a small touch of proactive assistance. The camera's AI-powered scene optimizer has also been improved. It's now better at recognizing a wider variety of scenes and subjects, and the adjustments it makes are more subtle and natural looking. For food photography, it might slightly boost saturation, while for portraits, it will focus on natural skin tones and a gentle background blur. It's less about creating an overly processed image and more about giving you a better starting point for your own edits. In the Samsung keyboard, the AI-powered text suggestions are now context-aware. It doesn't just predict the next word based on what you just typed. It looks at the entire conversation in the app you're using. If you're in a messaging app making plans, it might suggest phrases like, "What time works for you?" or "I'm on my way." It's a feature that, when it works well, can genuinely speed up your typing. The Bixby Vision feature, which uses the camera to identify objects, has been enhanced with better text recognition and translation capabilities. You can point your camera at a menu in a foreign language, and the translation will appear more accurately and stably overlaid on the real-world text. It's faster and more reliable than before, making it a more practical tool for travelers. Samsung's AI is also working in the background to manage performance. The RAM Plus feature, which uses storage as virtual RAM, is now more intelligent about how and when it allocates this virtual memory. It prioritizes keeping your most used apps ready to go, leading to a smoother multitasking experience without over-relying on the feature, which could slow down storage performance. Overall, the smarter AI in One UI 8.5 is less about a single flashy assistant and more about embedding intelligence throughout the operating system. It's about useful automation through Bixby routines, proactive assistance with smart widgets, and subtle enhancements in the camera and keyboard. It's the kind of AI that works quietly in the background to make your phone more helpful and intuitive, which is exactly what AI on a phone should be. And finally, let's talk about customization. If there's one thing Samsung phones have never been short on, it's options. One UI 8.5 doubles down on this, giving you even more ways to personalize your device and make it truly feel like your own. This goes way beyond just changing your wallpaper. We're talking deep, granular control over the look and feel of the interface. The headline feature here is the expansion of the Good Lock suite of apps. For those who don't know, Good Lock is Samsung's official platform for advanced customization. With One UI 8.5, many of the modules within Good Lock have been updated with new capabilities. For example, the theme park module now lets you customize more elements than ever, including the look of the quick settings panel, the volume slider, and even the keyboard on a per-key basis. a brand new module has been introduced called Lockstar 2.0, which gives you unprecedented control over your lock screen. You're no longer limited to just a couple of clock styles and notification layouts. You can now freely move the clock, widgets, and notification icons anywhere on the screen. You can change their size, color, and even add new interactive widgets that were previously only available on the home screen. It basically turns your lock screen into another customizable canvas. The home screen customization has also been enhanced through the Home Up module in Good Lock. You can now increase the grid size for your home screen and app drawer even further, allowing you to fit more icons on a single page. There are also new options for folder layouts, letting you choose between a pop-up window or a full-screen interface when you open a folder. It's all about giving you the choice to set things up exactly how you like them. We touched on the improved color palette theming earlier, but it's worth mentioning again in the context of customization. The ability to extract more colors from your wallpaper and have them apply more consistently to themed icons and system menus is a huge win for aesthetic consistency. It makes the whole theme feel more integrated and professionally designed, even though it's being generated automatically based on your choice of wallpaper. The always-on display customization is another big area of improvement. Beyond just new clock styles, you can now use stickers, Arkansas emojis, and even short video clips as your AOD background. You can also now select specific images from your gallery to appear, and it will intelligently pick one from the selection each time you lock your phone. It makes the AOD less of a static information display and more of a dynamic personal space. The keyboard customization options are also much deeper now. Using the Keys Cafe module, you can completely remap the keyboard layout, change the size and shape of keys, and add custom symbols or macros. You can also create your own animated typing effects, where colors ripple out from each key you press. It might sound like a gimmick, but for those who spend a lot of time typing, creating a perfectly tailored keyboard can be a game changer for comfort and speed. Even the sound settings have more personalization options. The Sound Assistant module now lets you set custom volume levels for individual apps. So you can have your music app always play at 70% volume, while your games are at 40%, without you having to constantly adjust the master volume. You can also customize the volume panel's look and feel, moving it to different parts of the screen and changing its theme. The Edge panels, a long-standing Samsung feature, are more customizable than ever. You can adjust the handle's size, color, and transparency to a much finer degree, making it either blend in seamlessly or stand out for easy access. The content of the panels themselves can also be tweaked, with new tools for creating custom panels with your own shortcuts or information widgets. The Share Sheet, which is the menu that pops up when you want to share something, can now be customized. You can pin your most used apps and contacts to the top for quick access and hide the ones you never use. This cleans up a historically cluttered menu and makes the process of sharing content much faster and more efficient, tailored to your specific sharing habits. In short, One UI 8.5, especially when combined with the latest Good Lock modules, represents the pinnacle of Android customization. Samsung is leaning into its strength here, providing an almost overwhelming number of options. But by keeping them neatly organized within Good Lock, they allow power users to tinker to their heart's content, while maintaining a clean, simple experience for those who prefer to stick with the defaults. It's the best of both worlds. So, there you have it. A deep dive into what I think are the most significant new features in Samsung's One UI 8.5. From the subtle but welcome UI polish and smoother animations to the genuinely important new privacy dashboard and the smarter battery management tools, it's a really solid, mature update. The expanded customization options via Good Lock and the more powerful Bixby routines just add more layers for power users to dig into. It feels like Samsung is really listening to user feedback and focusing on refinements that make a tangible difference in daily use. Of course, this is just my take on the update. The beauty of software this deep is that different features will appeal to different people. For me, the granular controls in the new Bixby routines and the transparency of the privacy dashboard are the biggest wins. But for you, it might be the ability to completely redesign your lock screen or the new Protect battery feature. There's a lot to explore here, and the best feature is always the one that solves a problem for you. So I want to hear from you. For those who have the beta or are just looking forward to the official release, what's the one feature that stands out the most to you? Is it the UI, privacy, battery, AI, or the customization? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest software and hardware, be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss the next one.